Let's have a look at this battery that was sent to me by DR.PREPARE. When they asked me if I wanted to review this particular battery, I told them absolutely. It's a unique enough battery that I thought it was very interesting. As you can see, it's a LiFePO4 battery, 100 amp hour version. Comes with the manual, and it comes with this, it's called a Max PowerHub, I believe is what they're calling it. And we'll show you that here in just a minute. It fits up in here and gives you some additional features that you don't normally see on just a 100 amp hour LiFePO battery. This particular battery is 100 amp hours or 1280 watt hours. Rated voltage 12.8, 100 amp maximum discharge current. It's good for 3,000 cycles at an 80% depth of discharge. So it's about 13 3/4 inch wide, 8.37 inches tall, and the depth of it is just under 7 inches. And it weighs in at 27.56 pounds. You can connect these batteries in series and or in parallel. And kind of the way they've got the top designed, they've got the lugs or the connector bolts sunk down so you can stack them or you can put them side by side. It's got two heavy-duty carrying straps, and it looks to me like these straps are easily removable if you don't care to have the straps on it. It doesn't have any screens on here to give you a digital readout, but it does have a meter, so it's got 25% charge increments, and if you just press the button, it'll light up whatever the charge level is. Right now it looks like we're sitting between 3/4 and full. And it also has an Anderson connector here in the front, right on the top, and this is for the Max Power Hub. So let's open that and have a look at it. This particular Power Hub has been around. They've had previous versions of this, and the folks at DR.PREPARE told me that this is the latest version, and this is late July 2024, and then it also comes with a 12-volt accessory or cigarette lighter type plug adapter with an Anderson connector on that as well. Now the Power Hub has a spot for solar in, and it can handle up to a 100-watt solar panel. USB output has 2 ports. I think the A is a 18 watt and the C is a 30 watt. USB-C in and out, and then you have your 12-volt out accessory port. And this is where you would connect via the Anderson connector. And then you've got your cigarette lighter adapter or 12-volt accessory, like for a lot of 12-volt refrigerators and pumps and so forth for camping, that type of a setup. Really handy. And this particular unit just plugs into the top. So it's got an Anderson connector on the bottom of it, and it just pops into the top of the battery. As simple as that. And then it has an on-off button. Now it does have a couple of lights here. When charging, the green indicator will light up. When discharging, the blue indicator will light up. So there you go. Blue for discharging and green for charging. Now looking back in the manual about the battery itself, it says it has low temperature protection. You can charge between 32 Fahrenheit to 41 or 0 to 5 degrees Celsius. And then it has high temperature protection, 122 to 131 Fahrenheit or 50 degrees to 55 degrees Celsius. Okay, I've got the 25 amp SFK charger on there. 2 red lights means we're charging, and it'll turn green when it's done. So we'll let it go ahead and charge up. And I noticed that the charge indicator during the charge, it's kind of blinking on this 3/4 or 1/3 light there. 4 bars, so it's completely charged. And I've got it set up for a discharge capacity test. We're sitting at 13.6 volts, and we'll get this started. We're at 143 watts and 11 amps discharge test on the LiFePO4 DR.PREPARE battery. And we're sitting at 100%. Come back in about 10 or 11 hours and we'll see how many watt hours and how many amp hours came out of this battery. I suppose the battery's going to shut down any minute. There it goes. So it just shut down. Let me zoom in and get you the total on that. So here's the final result. 103.74 amp hours, 1,303.16 watt hours, 9 hours and 17 minutes for the test. And if we look at the top of the battery here, one blue light blinking on the meter there. All right, after completing the capacity test, which passed with flying colors, I've fully charged the DR.PREPARE LiFePo 100 amp hour battery. And I just wanted to demonstrate, if you have AC needs for this battery or you want to connect it to your system, you can do that just directly to the lugs on the battery. And I've got a 2000 watt pure sine wave inverter connected, which is a little bit overkill for one single 100 amp hour battery, but I want to do a test on the BMS that's in the battery, and it shuts the battery down before it causes any problems. I just have a shunt connected here in line on the negative. I know this is red, but it's all I had. But this is the negative coming out of the battery. We're sitting at 13.33 volts at the moment. I've got a shop vac on the floor here connected to one of the AC outlets of the inverter and a small heat gun that's connected to the other outlet. The heat gun will pull about 70 amps on the heat setting, and just on the fan setting it pulls about 11 amps or so. And then the shop vac pulls about 70, maybe 73 amps when it's turned on. And it's going to be kind of noisy, but I'm going to turn on the shop vac first, and we'll set this to this meter here to show the amps that are coming out of the battery. And then I'll turn on the heat gun on low. We'll see what that does. That should bring it around to 80-85 amps. And then we'll go to full power, which is about 140 amps on the heat gun. And we'll see if the BMS will shut down. And we'll turn on the shop vac. And hopefully you guys can still hear me as we kick up the sound volume here a little bit. It should bring us up to around 75 maybe. Well, that's about 75 amps on the shop vac. We'll turn the heat gun on low, 85 amps. And I'm expecting the BMS to shut the battery down hopefully within 30 seconds or so. We're showing 12.2 on the battery voltage, and we'll go to high on the heat gun. 168 amps. And it shut it right down. So excellent. I don't know if this battery will reset itself automatically. I'm expecting that it will, but we'll see. Okay, I waited several minutes and it has not turned itself back on, the battery BMS. So let me hit it with the charger and we'll see if that'll do it. We're back to charging. We'll unplug the charger and we should be back up and running. So let's see if the inverter will turn on. And yes, it does. So we're back up and running after that. All right, let me disconnect all this and then we'll have a look at the Max Hub and we'll do some testing on some of the outlets and what it's capable of doing connected to the battery without an inverter, which is the main feature of this particular DR.PREPARE battery. I'm curious to check it out. All right, now I want to have a look at this Max Hub because this is the most unique feature of this particular DR.PREPARE battery. And I think it could really be useful, especially for a car camping or a camping situation. Most of your uses are probably going to be DC. Anyway, you just got this little cover that covers up that Anderson plug, and then you just plug this in. Snap it into place, and you're ready to go. The on-off button just turns on the DC output. So you press it once, the blue light comes on, and these outlets are all activated. So you've got the solar input on the Anderson plug, and that's good for up to a 100 watt solar panel, one single 100 watt solar panel. And then you've got a USB-A and a USB-C. Now these two ports under this particular lid, they recommend that you use one or the other. If you use the USB-C, it'll be fast charge. And if you use the USB-A and the USB-C at the same time, that's going to limit you to a max of 5 volts or 3 amps combined in total. If you use them separately, then the USB-C supports fast charging. Then you've got a USB-C fast charge input and output. So you could actually put power back in through this particular USB-C. And then you have the DC output, which is 10 amps or about 120 watts. But first, let's have a look at this USB-A plug. And we'll just plug in my phone or an old phone that I have. And we'll see if that actually works. And we're charging. Excellent. All right, and I've got an adapter to go from an A to a C, USB-C. We'll plug it into the USB-C port. We'll just try them both. And I'm pretty certain this is going to work. But this will work for most of your DC devices that was be requiring DC input. And this should be fast charging. And we'll try this other USB-C. This was the input-output port. And of course that charges just fine as well. Alright, so I'm going to leave that plugged in. That phone needs to be charged a little bit anyhow. We'll use this adapter that came with the DR.PREPARE battery. And I've got a couple of items here just to demonstrate. I've got this fan, and this is an oscillating fan, and the other end has your DC plug, accessory plug. Plug that in, and then we'll turn it on, and off we go. And this output is good for 10 amps or 120 watts. The only thing one thing I don't really care for about this battery, it doesn't have Bluetooth and it doesn't have a screen with the digital readout. So you don't really have any idea how much power you're using unless you know exactly what your item uses. But that will certainly run the fan, oscillating 12-volt fan with no issues. And I'm sure you could run that for hours upon hours, like for car camping or tent camping. Put this in your tent and get some airflow. That would be nice. All right, let's try another item here. Let's shut this off. And I've got a DC 12-volt electric air pump with the same type of adapter, like for blowing up an air mattress or a air pillow or a rubber raft or a rubber kayak or something. So it's easily usable for that, and that's the type of thing maybe you would want to use this type of outlet for. Well, that's what I think of anyway. So there's a look at the DR.PREPARE LiPo4 100 amp hour LiPo battery / DC power station. I'll leave links for this in the video description, and you can check out more information if there's something you have a question about it that I didn't cover in the video. Well, check out the next video I think you'll like, and we'll see you over there.